What's up, guys, and welcome to
The
Black Sheep. Today's episode, we're going to be talking all about life as you know it, why we're here, why do we exist. I feel like everyone has this question of what is the meaning of life?
The question
what is my meaning? Like, what am I here for?
Whoa,
You
you're
know?
right, bro. You're gonna
scared.
you're gonna get into that deep shit right now.
I'm going to go into that.
No, yeah. I mean, that's the question as old as time itself. I wonder, like, I don't think so, but like when I was doing some research about this, like I was thinking, like, have you seen the movie The Croods, right?
Yeah, with the little like caveman cartoon. Yeah.
And it's like Eve, what was her name? I think the girl, like she was always like concerned about like, wow, what are we doing this for? Or, you know, and she would always like ask that, and then the dad would like get mad at her because like she was always asking, it's like, why do you ask so many questions? Like, just do what you're gonna do. Like, go get some food.
Stop
and
questioning
shit.
things.
Right. And so it's like, do you think cavemen like thought about that kind of shit? They were just like, we need to get food before we die.
Honestly, yeah, I don't think they really stopped to like
It's such a modern thing.
think about that. Yeah,
It's a modern thing to be
they
like.
were
wow.
more so like trying to fucking survive and not get eaten by whatever animals.
Right, because like I don't think my mom thinks about that kind of stuff. She's a caveman.
Yeah, she's way too old. It's more so like 2000s.
Maybe it's a super like modern
Just
thing.
kidding. But yeah. So that's what we'll be talking about today.
Hopefully you guys are here for it, and hopefully you guys like to hear that kind of stuff because we're gonna get pretty interesting, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna get serious. We might shed some tears talking about life, y'all.
We might get deep. We might go back and forth.
We
Who
might
knows?
punch each other in the mouth sometimes.
And we don't really know. We've never asked each other this, so we don't know like what each of us really thinks. So we might disagree on certain things.
Yes,
so
for sure.
it'll be interesting.
But before I get into that, I just want to ask, like, weekly check-in, bro.
Weekly check-in. We
Weekly
love
check-in.
talking about life. Okay, so I was telling my brother this because I feel like every time I get on this fucking podcast to record, there's like something new that's wrong with me. I feel like the past 3 episodes have been like, oh, well, last week I went to the ER, and oh, well, now I have this, now I have that. What
do you have this week?
Sprained or fractured my ankle. I don't really know yet. It's all bruised up, but I haven't gone to the doctor. And so many people are telling me to go get checked. So I think I am going to go just to make sure everything on the inside is healing properly or not fractured, because it's pretty like healed now. I can walk on it pretty well, but sometimes when I walk on it, it feels uncomfortable, like the bone, my ankle bone. Something doesn't feel right. So I just want to make sure. But other than that, also I'm thinking about moving soon, getting that together. So life's pretty good right now. It's okay.
That's good.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the ankle part, but
yeah, but I'm doing better now. So
that's good. Yeah, I've been all right. It's just like every time we do this, I'm like, I feel kind of shitty.
Why do you feel shitty?
I don't know, man. Life just sucks, man. Life just kicks you all
depressed?
the time.
Do you feel depressed?
A little bit. But I think
depressed?
that's just normal. For like I talked about it earlier, like it's just like this age or this time period in your life, like people feel just weird about what they're doing and like haven't really figured stuff out yet.
You think like the age that you're at, that's why?
That's why. But I don't know.
Maybe it'll get worse as you get older, because
I think that is gonna happen because
honestly, that's what happened to me. So
I would have never have imagined, like as a young child, I was so happy and like it just like felt like so normal, and it's like I would never imagine that I would be where I am right now when I was younger.
What do you mean where you are right now? Like mentally or just
mental
in life?
Health and shit.
Oh yeah.
But
I don't like. Isn't that weird how that works? I don't know. I feel like back then no one really like dealt with this stuff, but I think it was only because it wasn't really like put out there as much as it is now.
Yeah.
Now everyone's super open about mental health issues and what they're going through, and it's
right.
more.
It's like,
it feels more common.
It feels more common, but then again, it's also like sometimes it feels like, why am I going through something like this? Like I used to be normal, or like why isn't everyone else normal, or like,
normal in air quotes, but yeah,
like
you know what I mean.
Like you said, it's like I feel like everyone like is going through some stuff, obviously, but they just don't say it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, like you said, at least it's a better situation now. Like people come out and talk about it. It's more common.
Like it feels more comfortable to talk about it.
Right.
Whereas back then it was like Oh, you're depressed? Like, I don't know. It was just kind of looked at
Or
as
should
like
go
weird.
drink some beer or something.
Yeah, that will for sure make it better.
No, I'm doing well. I mean, I'm doing better than a little bit ago. I think it was just maybe like this episode. It was kind of like got me into like the feels, man.
Oh, whoa, really?
Yeah.
Like when you were doing a research and just
research and like really just like reflecting on life and like what I want out of it and what I think it means. So.
right.
But we'll get into that. There's also another question that I wanted. I'm doing well, guys. Okay, you don't have to worry about it.
Everybody worry about him.
No. There's another question that I was listening to something on the way here, and then they were asking each other, like, how much money would you have to, like, someone had to give you to strangle a puppy to death?
Oh, whoa. This got dark really fucking quick.
Like, what if it was Harley?
No, there would never be an amount of money. Like,
Dude,
I could
everybody
actually, like,
has a
physically,
number,
I
though.
couldn't do it. I swear.
Everybody
I
has a
don't think I
number.
could. Okay, hit me with something.
Like $10 million. Like, you're probably set for life, probably with $10 million.
I just can't.
For $10 million?
Okay, you can? Apparently, it seems
Yeah, I'll
like
do
you
it for
can.
like $10,000.
Okay.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, we got a psychopath in the building.
No, but I was thinking about that. I was like, man, would I ever do that? Like, I feel like I would want to do it because I'm like $10 million or like $1 million.
It is a lot of money, but I just don't think I could physically do it.
To bring yourself to do it.
Yeah.
Or what if you just like close your eyes and then just like look away from it?
Like the scene in I Am Legend.
Where he kills his dog.
But he did it out of love.
Yeah.
To like, you know. But yeah, I feel like that would be really, really fucking hard to do. I can't. Bro, it's hard for me to kill a fucking like insect. Like
Yeah,
I
no.
just can't. It just makes me feel weird. Like who am I to fucking be taking some ant's life? I don't know.
You're God, basically.
I'm basically God.
You're God. You believe in God?
Oh, I'm God?
Yeah,
I get to decide what's alive and what's not.
Well, yeah, for the ant you are.
Yeah, true.
Well, I don't know. Does that make
Are
you
we
God?
gods? I don't know.
To ants, maybe.
Yeah.
They don't care about us.
Do they even have feelings?
They don't even have lungs. They don't breathe.
They don't have lungs. How
Is
the
that
fuck are
true?
they alive?
I don't know. If
Do
that's
they have
true.
hearts?
I don't know.
We don't know
that-
anything about ants.
Yeah, all I know is that they don't sleep and they just work their whole lives. But I think they
Aw.
don't have lungs, but I'm not too sure. What's their meaning of life?
Oh, that's
Wow.
interesting. Okay. Anyways, so would you do it for a certain amount of money?
I think like if everybody knew about it, I probably wouldn't do it. 'Cause
Wow. So okay, but if it was like a low key thing, but I mean now you're saying it on air
I
to
know,
everyone,
so everybody knows. I would snap that puppy's neck in half, maybe.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I don't think I could bring myself to do it. Like you said, I can't even kill spiders. Like I
My brother literally is the fucking worst when it comes to that. Like I'm scared too, so I'm always like, "Oh my god, there's a spider, bro. Can you kill it?" I don't think he's ever killed a spider. Like,
I haven't because what I do is I put it in a cup and then take it outside.
yeah, I try to do that, but if it's like
Then you get scared.
yeah, I get scared. Like I don't want it to jump on me or something. So if it's easier in the moment to just flush it down the toilet
Oh
or
my god!
squish
I
it.
feel like that's the most horrible thing ever. Like instead of
I know.
squishing it, like putting it down the toilet is like, dude, you're literally seeing it run, like trying to get out,
okay,
and you're like,
no.
flush it. My
Okay.
mom is heartless when she puts everything in the toilet.
She does put everything in the toilet.
She don't give a crap about nothing.
Yeah, my mom is pretty like, she's very like rough,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
like when she showers Romeo.
Yeah, she's very like rough with the things that she does. Like if she's like playing with, like when she was playing with Lenny the hamster,
Oh yeah.
she's just like making him like jump and dance and like
she,
picking him
she
by his
grabs
little
him and
arms.
she turns him over.
She
and
loves animals, but she's just like very rough with like how she does things.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
It's weird, but I mean, she loves animals. It's not like she's an animal abuser.
Yeah, no,
but,
no.
But she's just rough sometimes.
Anyways,
You know, those kids
so
that,
yeah,
like-
I would never do it.
I think you would.
I wouldn't. I couldn't. It could be
Harley
like
right
a
now.
fat. It could be a room full of money, and they'd be like, "You could have all this right now, if you just put your hands around Harley's little neck."
Be over in like 3 seconds, bro.
I
10
would
seconds.
die. No. Oh, just freaks me out thinking about it.
It's a lot of money, bro.
Yeah, but
think if you
I
saw
would
the money-
only do it if it was like a life or death situation. Like if someone's holding a gun to my head and saying like you're gonna die if you don't do this, then
Then maybe.
I would cry through the whole thing. But I would probably do it.
I think you need to see the money. Like if money was there physically, like a whole ass suitcase brought out. Like,
what would you guys do? Ask yourselves this question. Ask your
yourselves,
friends
and then
this question.
and if you say that you would kill him, then you're a horrible human being.
Then you love money.
I'm just kidding. I don't know if I would do it. I would be tempted to do it for sure, but I don't know if I could physically bring myself. And like when you hear like a dog crying, it's like
thinking about it, it might sound kind of like, oh well, if there's that much money, but like physically think about doing it. It's
pretty rough to think about something like that. Anyway, that was a question that I thought was interesting, and I was like, I bet Melissa would do it.
What?
No, just kidding. I knew you were gonna say no, but
you really thought I was gonna say no?
Yeah, I knew you were gonna say no, but I was like, dude, that's a lot, like $100 million.
Yeah, certain things I would do, but not killing a dog. I just couldn't.
Well,
anything else that's like illegal, maybe killing a person, that's a different story.
Oh my god.
Dogs are just better than people.
You kill a child?
Okay. Anyways, we're moving on.
Let's move on.
Okay, let's jump right in.
Yeah, let's go right into it.
Took some notes, y'all.
So bring the notes out, guys. Bring the notes out.
Bringing the notes. Okay.
Meaning of life, guys. Get ready for it.
Okay, so I want to start off with like the first thing that I guess was like put into our heads about like the meaning of life, because because we went to church.
Okay.
And if you guys don't know, we used to go to the Mormon church.
We were Mormons.
Meet the Mormons. Is that an actual movie? That is a movie, right?
No.
Oh. Okay.
What the heck?
I don't know why I thought that was a movie. So I wrote down that like religion, I feel like they teach you that the meaning of life is, you obey and follow all these like rules and guidelines. And a main thing that they really like put into your heads, I don't know about all religions, but I feel like the Mormon church specifically, that you need to get married, you need to find someone, you need to get married, and you need to start a family and have children.
Right.
And that is like everything. Like to have kids and have a big family, a loving marriage, that is like a huge part of life, I feel like. And they tell us about that all the time.
Right. And then in the Mormon church, it's like, it's even more complicated because you have to get married in the temple, and then you guys have to get cast.
You both have to be worthy of it.
Yeah, you both have to be worthy of it. Stepping inside the temple is a huge thing. And then you guys have to be cast together. If you guys aren't cast together, is that what it's called?
I don't know. I think you just... Is that the word?
I think it's cast. I
don't
know.
Cast away.
You guys have to be do something like together.
Bonded.
Yeah, bonded together, or else you guys, when you guys die, you guys are not going to be together in heaven.
Yeah, in the afterlife.
You guys are not going to be married in the afterlife. So you guys have to do that in the temple, and then once you guys have kids, then you guys return to the temple again.
As a family. And
you guys all get bonded together again, or else you guys won't be able to get or be together in the afterlife. So it's like, it's even just more complicated than just getting married in the Mormon church. It's just a
whole bunch of things you have to do, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think that was like something that I don't know if I ever actually like really thought, okay, well, that is the meaning of life for me, is like to grow up and be a mom and have a family. I don't know why. Like, even though that was taught to us all the time, like, I still just felt like, I don't know if that's what I want.
Yeah.
But, yeah. And then.
But that's interesting, though, because, like, I feel like even when you had, boyfriends and stuff like that in the past, you were never like, yeah, I'm ready to start a family.
Yeah.
I feel like you've never done that. And
no.
when I had a relationship, I was like, yeah, I'm down. Like, let's move in together, and I'm ready to have a baby.
Okay, well, here's the thing. I did get to that point.
Okay.
When in my longest relationship, obviously, it did get to that point where I felt like I could see me going in that direction and getting married and like starting a family and stuff. And I think it always takes the right person to like get you thinking of that, or the right time in the relationship. Like, if you feel like you're good with that person and everything's like going great, you do start thinking
kids.
Like, oh, maybe it wouldn't be so bad to get married and have a family.
Right.
And then afterwards, when the relationship is over, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? But yeah, and then also obviously in church, like basically your whole meaning of life is surrounded around God and like believing in God, and
that is
like your the reason why you're here, basically. Right, is what we think.
That gives life meaning.
Yeah, God. That gives your life so much meaning. I feel like a lot of people that feel like, oh, I'm like my life is meaningless are a lot of the times people that don't like have God in their life,
or just aren't religious.
Yeah, because I feel like that church and religion really gives you that
sense. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I mean, I talked about that a little bit. I'll talk about that, but yeah, because like religion is what, when people say like, oh, what's the meaning of life? It's like, oh, it's pretty easy, bro. You read the Bible. You just follow the steps.
Believe in God and follow these.
Live a worthy life, and then it's pretty fucking easy. Wow, I don't know why it's so hard for you to understand. It's like, religion isn't everything, bro.
Yeah, well, to some people it is.
Yeah, right. That's what I mean. So.
But yeah, so that was the first thing I wrote down.
So you were talking about religion a little bit,
yeah. Yeah, like that's what I feel like.
And you're still
we were
religious.
taught at a young age. Am I still religious?
And you are, right?
No, not at all. Quite the opposite, actually. And also I wrote down that I believe everything in life happens for a reason, right? That's my opinion.
You think that?
Do you not?
Well, like in your life, but like some other person's life that they've had a pretty tragic life. It's like, what's wrong with their life? Why did that happen to them?
That's true. But I feel like every time something bad happens, like there's always something good that comes out of it. At least that's what I've experienced in my life. Like even when I'm so low and like feeling like everything is going wrong and it's just horrible for that time period, after it's over, like something good happens.
Right.
And also I wanted to ask you, because also in like church and stuff, they used to tell us that like, or I guess it was kind of said, but like not really. Basically in the Mormon church, like they told us that before we were even born and brought to earth, that we already existed, right? Pre-life or whatever it's called. I don't know. I haven't been to church in a long time.
World, whatever it's called.
Yeah. And we already existed, and we had already picked out our families, and like everything was already like set and planned for us, right? And a lot of people do think that your whole life story is already written out for you. Like no matter what choices you make, no matter what, like that future outcome is always going to be the same. Do you think that? Or do you feel like the choices you make take you in different directions and it could go either way?
Yeah, there was a thing that I read. Well, it's a philosophy thing, but it's talking about determinism, right? And then like if your life is determined already for you, and like do we really have the power of free will or not?
Right.
In the Bible, it says that we were given free will.
Yeah, but then a lot of times I feel like
they contradict.
They do say like, oh, everything's like already been planned for you. Your family's already been picked for you. Right. And like, I don't know. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It goes back and forth.
Right. Yeah. So what I was going to say was that like, there was this like thing that I read. They talked about a specific example of, let's say like you're on a diet, right? And then like you've been dieting. Do you diet? You're skinny. You're skinny.
Not really.
Well, anyway, let's say you were fat.
Okay.
Let's say you were fat and then you were on a diet for like 2 years now. And now you look good and you really like the way that you look now.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, I mean, you've been comfortable for a long time. Like you've been dieting for 2 years, but for a year and 6 months, like during that dieting period, you're like, I look good now, and I feel like maybe I can start, indulging a little bit into some foods that I haven't eaten in a long time because I look good, and I can treat myself once in a while.
Right.
And so you're at a friend's house, and then they have the main course or whatever, and you eat that, and now dessert's being passed around. And then there's 2 options for dessert, right? There's this fruit cup, and it has like peaches and watermelon on it.
Ooh.
And then it's like some strawberries.
Sounds good.
Then they come out with the second option for dessert, and it's this like hot molten like lava chocolate cake.
Ooh, that also sounds great.
And then you've already been thinking about a little bit about like, I can
Onto
treat
the dark
myself
side.
sometimes. You know, I can treat myself sometimes. I've been good for so long. I look good. One chocolate cake ain't gonna do shit. And then it's like, okay, so what do you choose? In that situation, what do you think that you would choose? The chocolate cake or this peach cup?
Me, personally, I would choose I would choose the cake because I already feel good with like my progress and like how I'm looking and stuff.
Right. So, and I feel like most people would do that. So that's where the problem comes in of free will, because it's like, if you have all these like preset things that determine what you choose, could you really go back to that place before you chose the chocolate cake or the peaches and really choose if you were going to choose the peaches or the cake?
Like go back in time and redo it, you mean?
Yeah, like if you went back in time.
Oh, we just knocked the sheep over. You just punched him in the face.
Sorry, baby. I'm getting too excited, guys. I'm punching the sheep.
For real.
But like if you went back in time and you had all this preset knowledge already, like you don't have any knowledge that you already chose what you chose, right?
Right.
And you went back in time and you faced with the same dilemma between that one, you would always choose the chocolate cake because that's how you feel at the moment. You're like, I'm doing well. I can choose the chocolate cake right now.
Right.
So, is there free will?
Or
would you ever be able to choose the peaches again? Because you've already been thinking about it so much. And if you go back in time without previous knowledge or without the post knowledge of you already choosing one, you're always going to choose the chocolate cake.
Yeah, unless you're able to go back with the post knowledge.
But that's where the problem with free will comes in, and I personally believe there's a whole like there's determinism, hard determinism, and then free will and stuff like that. I believe that you can choose what you have, but then there's also that problem that is like, because of the past choices that you've made, you're here now. And those things factor in, so you're always going to choose the thing that you're going to choose anyways. So it's pretty fucking hard, but I don't know if I believe in that too much.
Okay. So you don't think...
I don't think that
your story is already written out for you.
I don't think so. I think that we have ability to be spontaneous sometimes.
Right.
Because like obviously some people are going to choose the chocolate cake, but some people aren't, because they're so focused on their diet and they're so committed to it. So in that sense, they're spontaneous and not choosing the chocolate cake, so their lives could be different than ours.
Right.
But I don't know. It's kind of hard. I mean, that's what I.
But also maybe that life is already written out for them. Yeah. That choice. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know. But
it's hard. What do you think? Do you think that our lives are set and written out already?
Sometimes I do think that, but then other times I'm like, the choices that you do make, I feel like they do affect the future. Because you could go through life, like me and my friends were kind of having this conversation the other day, like we could go through life and just go with the flow and say, well, everything's already like planned for us, you know, like whatever decision we make, that's the choice we're supposed to make, and like the outcome, it is what it is, and that's how it's gonna be.
Right. So it doesn't really matter.
So you could stay in a relationship where you're not happy, really, and
wait, what?
You could stay in a relationship where you're not happy, really, because you're like, well, either way, I love this person and I'm staying here, so that means that this is the choice I'm supposed to make for now. But then also, if you think about it, you could make the choice that you think is the better choice to take your life in the direction that you want it to go. You know what I mean? Like some people think like, oh, let's just go with the flow. Everything's already mapped out. But then some people think, well, if I choose the fruit cup, I'm going to be healthy and my body's going to be great and right. I'm going to live my life in that direction.
Yeah. It's hard. So what you're saying is...
So I do think that choices affect the outcome.
I think so too. But sometimes maybe the choices are
already
made
mapped
for
out
us.
too.
So what does that mean?
I don't fucking know, bro.
we just go back and forth on that one.
Yeah. Anyways.
But, yeah.
Yeah. So like I wrote down, this is something that I read, that like some people think that a meaningful life is like being spontaneous and creative and like doing whatever makes you happy, like in the moment, right?
Okay.
But then others feel like a meaningful life is like routine. Take care of your body, take care of yourself, go jogging every morning, wake up at a certain time every morning, and that kind of stuff. And that also makes them happy, or like pursuing goals and stuff like that.
And achieving goals.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So, I don't know. I feel like people have different ideas of what is a meaningful life to them.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, I mean, you can't just work all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a balance in between, like, you know, achieving your goals and then also just going with the flow?
Mm-hmm. I like the balance.
You like the balance?
Some people like literally live their whole lives waking up at 5 a.m. every single day, just because that's like what they like value.
Mm-hmm.
And or like working all the time or whatever because they want to get to a certain goal, right? But then I don't know, I feel like if I had a life like that at the end, when I look back and I just think like, well, I worked my whole life and made money for these materialistic things that I wanted, but I don't know.
You weren't like really enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I wasn't really enjoying life.
And now you're like 40.
Yeah. Ew, I don't even want to think about that.
I'm turning 40.
Oh, the other day, I heard someone blasting a Bo Burnham song.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were like driving by in a car, and I was like, "Wait, what song is that? It sounds so familiar."
What was it? What
Bo
song
Burnham.
was it?
Fuck, it was. I forgot what it was, but it's like, it's really deep and like slow. Has like a slow part.
So what? Really, the song that I like, that I sing all the time?
Is it? Let me see.
It's like, wait, how does it go?
Sing it right now.
Put your fucking hands
Yes,
up.
it was that one.
Bro, that's my fucking favorite song. Well,
I know, and I was like, I'm
Burnham.
surprised that's not my brother driving past me right now.
Bro, I was just singing that all the time, and Melissa's like, bro, can you stop singing that song?
He got it stuck in my head, and now I like sing it every now and then.
Oh, that song is sick.
It is.
I feel like Bo Burnham might know what the meaning of life is.
I feel like he is God.
He looks like God in that.
He does look like
in that recent
Jesus.
documentary. Anyways, enough about Bo Burnham. If you guys have it, I mean, no, everybody see that.
Not everyone.
What?
Yeah, some of my friends haven't. Like, what the fuck?
Have you told them to?
You live under a rock? No. Well, I told them, like, how do you not know who he is?
Yeah.
But,
I seen him a while ago on like, because he has a bunch of YouTube videos.
oh, I thought you said you saw him like in person.
Oh no.
What would you do if you saw him in person?
Pee myself maybe. No, I seen him when he was making YouTube videos, and like he was making like, when he was like super young, I think like maybe like 16 or 17, and he was like on the piano and he had like a bunch of songs. I seen that a while ago. I didn't know who he was, and I didn't know he was that big.
Mm-hmm.
But now obviously with Inside, then I went back and watched a few of the documentaries on Netflix as well. He's a really talented guy, and
He's very talented.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah, I think he is God, and then he knows what the meaning of life is. All right. So I have written down, because I read this book a while ago, or not. I didn't read the whole book because I got like halfway through the book, and it was just like, it's a pretty hard read, and it's like you have to like reread what you just read, or you have to like take notes on what you just read to really understand it. At least for me.
Like really think about it.
Yeah. It's a philosophy book.
Okay.
It's by Albert Camus. He's this French philosopher, pretty famous French philosopher. I mean, you probably have heard about him if you know. But it's supposed to be the book. The book is called The Myth of Sisyphus. Have I told you about it before? I mean, does it ring a bell a little bit?
I don't know.
The Myth of Sisyphus.
Okay.
But what I'm reading from here is a short summary of the book inside of this whole it's just like there's this giant book that has a bunch of excerpts. Is that excerpts? How do you say that word?
Excerpts.
Excerpts.
I think.
From a bunch of famous philosophy pieces, and this one was in, and this one really like stuck out to me. So basically, in the beginning, he talks about this thing called absurdism. And he brought a whole new definition to the world about absurdism, and it just basically means, humans' futile search for the meaning, clarity, and purpose in life.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that it's futile because he believes that life doesn't have any meaning, and then in the end, that we should be okay with life not having meaning.
I did read some stuff like that too, that some philosophers believe that there really is no meaning to life, and we're just here.
Yeah, and that's pretty hard to wrap your head around it because they're telling you just to live with that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of people, probably including myself, can't live with knowing that we just turn into dust when we die and that's it.
Yeah.
But what he talked about was, so absurdism is the direct consequence for the absence of God, right? Because when you talked about religion, you talked about how that gives our life meaning and purpose. Mm-hmm. So when you're talking about absurdism, it's saying that life doesn't have any meaning, doesn't have any purpose. So that is basically the direct consequence of the absence of God. When you take God out of the equation, life is meaningless. Do you understand?
Yes.
You get it, kind of?
Kind of.
So obviously you can have like morals, and you can live for, I don't know, science or whatever you want to live for, but in the end it's like none of that really means anything because life doesn't have meaning when there is no God.
Right.
He says that the problem is that we are characterized by the probability of suffering and the certainty of death. Two pretty horrible things. Death is one thing that no one can escape. Everyone's going to die eventually.
Everyone dies.
And suffering is conditional upon your life choices, right? But everyone's going to go through suffering at some point in your life.
That's very true.
Because, you make the choices that you make, and then you suffer from the consequences of those choices. But no matter what you choose, there's going to be some kind of suffering in your life. It doesn't matter. If you're the greatest person in the world, or if you're the worst person in the world, there's going to be some suffering. He quotes, "At this point of his effort, man stands face to face with the irrational. He feels within him his longing for happiness and for reason. The absurd is born of this confrontation between the human need and the unreasonable silence of the world." So what he's saying in that quote is that whenever we try and rationalize and figure out what life is really about, we get to this wall. And that wall is the absurd. The absurd is born when our needs meet the unreasonable silence of the world, right? The world doesn't speak to us and then tells us hey, this is why I'm doing this. This is why the river flows this way. This is why the mountains grow like this. Because when we try to figure that stuff out for ourselves, the outcomes will never really meet our expectations, or we'll just figure out that shit just happens that way, bro. Right?
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Science can explain why does a river flow that way, or why does gravity work like this? It's okay, we know that happens now, but why? You can just ask why for everything. So at the end of everything, stuff just becomes or turns into meaningless things.
Right.
So that's basically the beginning of the book. He talks about absurdism. He also gets into suicide, right? When you realize that the meaning of life is, or there is no meaning to life, you think obviously
there's no point.
There's no point.
Exactly.
So you have to, you don't have to, sorry. You think about committing suicide, right?
Right.
Because it's so you're telling me, this guy Albert Camus, the philosopher, you're telling me that there's no meaning to life. So why am I living it?
Yeah.
Might as well just kill myself.
Yeah, there's no point to being alive.
Right.
That's the case.
But he argues that suicide is not the way. And here's why. So he talks about two things. He talks about philosophical suicide, and then he talks about physical suicide. So for philosophical suicide is basically abandoning what the absurd is, and then using religion or certain beliefs and ideologies to run your life for you. So he's saying that philosophical suicide is when a person goes into a religion and then lives their life that way, right? Because you're abandoning the absurd, which is life is meaningless and we have to figure out a way to be happy knowing that it is meaningless. But they're the other people that go into religion, stuff like that, they've committed philosophical suicide. They want to ignore the fact, or not the fact, but his argument that the absurd, that there's no meaning to life. They want to ignore that and say, no, there is meaning to life, and it's in this. It's religion.
Right.
So that's philosophical suicide to him. And he used Galileo as an example. Galileo is one of the first, or probably the first astronomer. He was the first one to make a telescope, and he looked at the moon and looked at the sun and the stars. And then he made discoveries, right? He was a scientist. But when he lived in the 1600s, he wanted to come out and talk about his discoveries. But during that time, everyone was, in Christianity or whatever, and people got killed for sharing ideas like that. And so when he found out, well, he was like preaching to the public and stuff like that, telling them like, hey, do you guys know that not everything revolves? Like back then we thought that everything revolved around the earth, right? Because that makes sense. We see the sun go around the earth. But we now know that we're actually the ones that revolve around the earth.
Revolve around the sun.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
We actually revolve around the outside of the earth.
We actually
humans.
revolve around ourselves. But yeah, so when he discovered something like that, he was preaching to the people, and then he found out that they were looking for him and they were going to kill him because he started preaching to these people. And so then when they caught up to him, he was like, all right, you know what, bro? I'll stop. I don't want to get killed right now. So he used that as an example as philosophical suicide because he was like, he abandoned his rationales, sorry. He abandoned his rationales and his morals just because these people were trying to kill him. And he was like, I'm going to go with the flow with you guys and say that, Christianity is the way. And he abandoned whatever he was thinking or discovering, and he committed philosophical suicide.
Right.
But then he also says, like, I think he did the right thing, because is it really worth your life to like share these discoveries that you're saying? Is it worth your life to tell someone like, hey, actually no, bro, the earth revolves around the sun and not the other way around? It's like, is that worth your life?
Right.
It's like, no, he doesn't think that it's worth Galileo's life to tell somebody that. It's like, okay,
if that's what you want to believe.
Yeah. It's like the earth revolves around the sun, but how's that change my life? It really doesn't. It's just a discovery. So that's why he also thinks, Albert Camus, the philosopher, also thinks that like science and all that kind of stuff like isn't that important to life and meaning.
Right.
Because it's like I already said, even if the earth revolves around the sun, what? What? Like, okay, cool.
That's true.
Like he makes these discoveries, and now we know.
Now we know that, but
what now?
We're still here.
We're still here.
Doing the same thing.
That doesn't like that's not gonna mean that like it's a whole ass like gravity doesn't exist and I'm gonna fly away. It's
right.
Like, okay, cool. So he also doesn't believe in that kind of stuff. And then obviously physical suicide. We all know what physical suicide is. He says that physical suicide means that life is too hard, and knowing that life is meaningless gives us reason to commit suicide, but that defeats the whole purpose in his eyes. He says that we turn to dust when we die, and this means that we wouldn't be able to hold the absurd in consciousness. He says that in our lives we have to hold the absurd in consciousness all the time, which just means that we have to think about how life is meaningless all the time, and we have to make our actions based on that. It's kind of confusing, I know, but he says that we should always think about it and come to a formal conclusion that there is no meaning and that there may not be life beyond this one, and we should be comfortable with that. So he says that, in your life, you have to just figure out a way to come to a conclusion or come to grips with that life could be meaningless and there just be nothing. And he's like, and that's the absurd, and that's why we have to, we'll just figure out a way to be okay with that. But now let's get to the actually interesting part. This is where the myth of Sisyphus comes in. In this Greek mythological story, we learn about Sisyphus. He was the first king of Corinth, but he was a bad king. He did a lot of bad things, and he was kind of like a mischievous guy. Like he was like overpowered, like the people around him, and he like, I don't know. I didn't really do too much research on that, but it said like he like seduced his niece or something into marrying him. He was a weird, not a normal guy. And he worked peasants around the clock, and he cheated death twice in this mythological story, obviously.
Okay.
And the gods were upset with him because he cheated death, and like he would like trick the gods into like freeing him or whatever. Like I'll get into it. So the story is really long and has a lot of characters. It's actually pretty interesting, mythology story. But like he goes to see death in the underworld, and like death like ties him up, but then he like convinces death to untie him, and then he like ties up death, and then and then like so since death is tied up, now on Earth no one can die because death is like trapped. So like there's like these like people having a war, and the god of war is named Ares. Ares is the god of war. Did you know that?
That makes a lot of sense.
But then Ares goes down in the underworld and unties death because he's killing people and they're not dying, and he's the god of war and he doesn't like that. So he goes down depths and unties death or whatever. It's just, it's a mythology story, but it's actually pretty cool. But there's a lot of other characters in it, but it's really way too long. So anyways, let's get to the interesting part. Zeus. I think Zeus is like the king of all the gods in Greek mythology.
Yeah, I don't know. A lot of people, I feel like that's the most common one that
Zeus.
A lot of people know and talk about.
So Zeus was upset that he had tricked the gods twice now. He tricked, because like they sent death to kill him, and then death got tied up by him or whatever. And then there was this other time where he cheated death as well. So he was upset that he had tricked the gods twice now, and he finally caught up with him, and he damned him to the underworld, which is called Hades. It really doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm telling you all these facts, but I think it's kind of interesting.
Okay.
Hades is the underworld, and they damned him to the underworld, and this is where it gets interesting. He tasked him.
He said this like 3 times already, guys. Sorry.
What have I said?
And this is where it gets interesting.
It's just so interesting, guys. So this is where it gets interesting, guys.
Okay.
He tasked him with rolling this huge boulder like up this giant hill. And so what he would have to do is he would like have this like giant boulder, probably like the size of him, and he would like have to struggle like pushing this boulder up this hill all the way to the top. And then when he got to the top, the boulder would roll down.
Oh, I think I've heard this story.
Yeah, and then he would come down after the boulder, roll it up again, and then when it gets to the top, it rolls all the way down. And he would do this every day for an eternity.
Oh.
So like forever.
Okay.
Like, they damned him forever. Zeus was not happy with this guy. And so Albert Camus in the book compared Sisyphus' eternal damnation to our lives. I was watching this like YouTube video talking about like how that ties into our lives, and this guy had a pretty good example. I think it was pretty cool. So he talked about getting ready to go out with his friends, and he was like really excited since he hadn't seen them in a really long time, and he just like was really picturing like him getting to the bar, and then like they all wave at him and they all say hello, and then they all have a good time. So he gets ready, he gets in a cab, drives out to the city, and then gets to the bar, and his friends are there, and they're really excited to see him, and they all have a great time. They drink and eat, tell stories, and tell jokes for about an hour or so, and then they say goodbye, and then he leaves and goes to bed. He says that he got ready for 20 minutes, waited for a cab for 5 minutes, drove 35 minutes, and then he does this also on the way back.
Oh my God.
Yo, what's going on right now?
Are you just... Is there something you want to say to the sheep today?
Guys, I knocked down the sheep again.
Again. He just... I'm sorry, little guy. Look at you. You're messing up his hair and everything.
He's got a little fuzz on his hair. What the heck is that?
Oh, he has a black hair instead of a white hair.
Sorry. Right, so he spends all this time like getting ready to go see them, and then they have fun, and then he spends all his time getting ready to go back and then go to bed. So what he said was that our lives, have like highlights, right? Like when he was gonna go see his friends, he had this highlight of whatever
you do with your friend.
You do with your friend, and you're happy for that amount of time. But really, you spend most of your life doing the boring stuff, getting ready to see your friends, sleeping, driving, all these like boring things that you do. And he says we have to try to find meaning in the mundane in our lives. So and he says like the more you look for it in these boring parts of your life, these boring parts or whatever, the more you find beauty in the mundane. And he compares that to Sisyphus, because he has to take this boulder up this hill, and then it just rolls back down again, right? And that's forever. Like he has to do that for an eternity, and that's how we have in our lives, right? We have problems and we fix these problems and the problems come back again. So when Zeus watches Sisyphus, if he is watching him roll his boulder up a hill, and he sees that while he's pushing his boulder up a hill, Sisyphus has a smile on his face, that doesn't make him feel good. He's like, this is the worst possible thing that I could have imagined for somebody. But Sisyphus is over here smiling, you know, achieving his small goal for the day of pushing this boulder up the hill. So just like Camus said, you know, we should revolt against the absurd and know that there is no meaning to life, but we have to find a way to find happiness in the things that we do, but we must never forget that it is meaningless. That's what Albert Camus says.
Very depressing theory.
And so he says we must keep pushing that boulder up the hill every day, and we must imagine that Sisyphus, like us, is happy. And that's where he like kind of.
So basically, be happy and oh.
Sorry, got a phone call.
Copyright. Basically, be happy and be okay with boring shit.
Yeah.
Doing the boring everyday things like waking up and pouring yourself a bowl of cereal.
Yeah.
You're supposed to just be smiling and be happy because at least you have a bowl.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly, Eliza.
That's the thing though, that I that doesn't sound
good to you.
I mean, it sounds good. I want to achieve that though. I just don't know how. Like, how do I become happy with a boring ass day where I feel like there's no highlights and I just sit on my couch and I'm like, oh my god, I'm tired of fucking staring at the fucking TV, or I'm tired of staring at this book, or I'm tired of having to do my makeup, or I don't know,
edit this video. No, like, but that's why I like the YouTuber's analogy that he used, right? Because he said, you know, we have times where our lives have highlights when we go hang out with our friends and we do fun stuff. But he's like, you can't just living for those moments.
Yeah. Because then you are going to be sad a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Which is very true.
You have to find happiness in the mundane. You have to find happiness in realizing that life has no meaning.
So is that what you think? Do you think life has no meaning?
Well, let's get into it, man. Let's get into what we think now.
Okay. So, this is what I wrote down, okay?
Yeah, let's see.
So I do think that, okay, so I want to read this quote first. Shit, my phone's gonna die. I saw this quote and it like fit perfectly what we were talking about today. So I decided to screenshot it, but it says that the meaning of life is to just be alive. Like, it is so plain. It says it is so plain and so obvious and so simple. And yet everybody rushes around in a great panic as if it were necessary to achieve something beyond themselves.
That's a good one. I like that.
So basically that's saying, like, the meaning of life is just the fact that we're here. Like, just the fact that we're here on this earth, breathing and living. Doesn't matter what we do or how our life plays out. Our life is meaningful because we are alive, basically. But I wrote down that I believe that the meaning of life...
Just get into it, guys. Get into
it. Is to learn from experiences and basically just make memories and, like, experience things.
Okay.
This is the year of experiencing things.
So you're a little more spontaneous then.
Yeah, I feel like that is the meaning of life because everybody's life is different, right? Like, everybody's thoughts are different. Everything that you go through is completely different from anyone else's life.
Right.
So I feel like the things that you experience and the things that you go through, like, that is what gives your life meaning, and what you learn through certain things or through the people that are in your life or whatever, like, that is the meaning of life to me.
So, right. So you want to talk about, I mean, you think it's more about just living and having these experiences and going through life.
Experiencing life and the world, I think, is the meaning of life.
And then would that factor in like us just dying and that's it? Because like when you live a life like that, I think it's okay for there not to be.
Talk about the afterlife, huh?
Well, I'm saying like when you live a life like that, like it would be more okay to there not be an afterlife because you've lived a good life and you have had experiences.
Right. What was your question originally?
Like, so you think that there is not an afterlife, or you think there is an afterlife, or would you want there to be? You don't want there to be?
I don't know. I do think that there is an afterlife, but I don't think that the afterlife has any sort of like meaning. Like I think the only time we like are able to experience the like things and like learn and actually like process stuff is when we're alive on Earth. I think after that, like I don't really know if we take those things with us. You know,
I
think
like
it just
a connection.
ends. I don't know. I don't think so.
I know it's a hard question, but I was just saying, like, because with that, I feel like with that kind of like lifestyle, it would be easier for someone to come to grips with.
Yeah.
That there isn't really an afterlife. But it would be nice if there was.
Do you think? Well, what kind of afterlife would be nice if there was? Because
I don't know.
Just because there's an afterlife doesn't mean it would be nice.
Yeah, we're gonna go to hell.
I don't know about that, but like even just like wandering around as a ghost, like is it really a good time?
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe it's just even more boring than our regular lives.
Fuck it, YOLO.
But
live it once, baby.
Literally, you only live once. And I also think that things that are really, or a thing that is really important to experience, at least for me, I think is like love. I feel like that's such like something that like, could you imagine just like living your whole life without experiencing love?
Yeah, I could not. But
I feel like that's something that everyone should experience at some point in their life, because I feel like it just completely like changes.
Well, I thought you were gonna say, but that doesn't really factor into, but it does, right? Experiences.
Yeah.
So you think
like
love
experiences is as in like, you know, a relationship where there's love and stuff like that.
Right. That's interesting because I wrote stuff about love as well.
Oh.
For my minute.
Oh, interesting. But yeah, I think love is such like a complex like thing, and it can make you feel like so many different like emotions, and it can be not so great, but also when it is great, like it's a really, really like cool feeling, and I feel like everyone should experience that at least once.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah.
Is that what you think?
I think that is all that I think.
I think that's all that I think.
That's all that I think in my brain.
All right. Well, mine is not.
Yours is not.
Is not as definitive as yours. So what I wrote down was, if I'm being honest with you guys, and if you guys really, really want to know what I think life is, or what life means, I wrote down, I have no idea. So I wrote down, like, for real though, I don't think, like, you have a thought of what life is, right, and what it means, but I don't know if anyone really does, right? And if I
feel like no one really knows for sure.
Right. And so what I mean is, like, I'm not saying that people's opinions like aren't important, right? Because you have your opinion and what you think. Maybe that's not even an opinion, but it's like a hypothesis or whatever, what you want it to be about. I'm not saying it's not important, because everyone has that, you know. But like, for me, like, I don't think I would be the person to be like, I know what life is. I feel like it would be like some ancient like Chinese guy that lives like in the mountains of like Japan, or in the mountains of China.
Yeah, like someone really, really wise.
Yeah, right. And like if I saw somebody like living out there, I'd be like, this guy knows what the meaning of life is. Like me, I don't have any idea. But I like the fact that you actually came up with something, because I couldn't. So for the longest time, I thought that the meaning of life was love, right? Because the main purpose of of life would be to find love and to
experience that.
Love has experiences that come with it. But when you talk about love, it is a feeling, and feelings are emotions.
But I think love is on a different scale than regular feelings, like happiness or sadness or whatever.
Yeah, they could be, but that's why I came to it's not a conclusion, but I came to the idea that life is not about love.
Oh my God.
So
my life is a lie. I'm just kidding.
What I wrote down was, because I mean, you kind of like contradicted what I said, but I said that love is like a feeling, and feelings can be emotions, and then emotions can be tricky, right? Like when you are feeling sad, if you take this, you might feel happy. You know what I mean? It's like a conditional thing, and maybe love is different. Obviously, no one knows what love means. Like what I wrote down was, no two loves are the same, right? You don't love ice cream the way that you love your significant other or your partner. You don't love your dog the way that you love your mom or your dad, or you don't love music the way that you love your computer or the love for movies. You know?
Right.
There's no two loves that are the same, and then no one really knows what love is.
What love is supposed to be like.
What love is supposed to be like, or what it means, or why we have it, right?
Right.
Humans have these connections between each other and between things that contribute to love. But what are they? No one knows. So
I feel like I need to be high for this conversation. I'm like hella in my thoughts.
Yeah. And then love is lost, right? And then it's gained again, but then it's lost again. So it's like when you lose your love for the passions that you once had, or you lose the love for the people that you once loved, like it cannot be what life is about for that. But for you, it can be, because it's your experiences, right? You love and then you lose, and then you love and you lose. But for me, it's like love should be something that is continual and should continue. If it's so strong of a feeling, for me personally, I don't think life can be about love, because you lose it and then you find it again and you lose it again. And I think that love is a prize or a short happiness in life. It's like if you play your cards right in life, you find love and you're happy with it for a certain amount of time. But life should not be lived to attain love. Right. Because I feel like it's just a prize or something like that. I don't think love comes without loss ever. So yeah, for sure. It's hard for me to say that love is the meaning of life.
Okay. So you don't know what the meaning of life is?
Sorry, guys. I have no idea what the fuck the meaning of life is.
That's okay. I'm sure most people think that also. I also want to read this really quick thing. I just found it when I was looking up, like, what makes a life meaningful. It says, when people explain what makes their lives meaningful, they tend to describe 4 things. 1, having rich relationships and bonds to others. 2, having something worthwhile to do with their time, right? Something that they're into, something that makes them happy in that way. 3, crafting narratives that helps them understand themselves and the world they live in. So like thinking about like what they feel their purpose is. Okay. And then 4, having experiences of awe and wonder. Like going on a hike and seeing a beautiful view, and then you think like, oh my God, this is what like life is beautiful, you know? Like you just experience this like, oh my God, I'm glad to be here. That's true. And those are called the 4 pillars of meaning, which is belonging, purpose, storytelling, and transcendence. But yeah, I feel like that is true. I feel like a lot of the times when people do answer that question, it revolves around those certain things.
Yeah, for most people, I think it is relationships. Yeah.
It's like building a relationship and experiencing things with different people. That's but yeah, that is what I wanted to say. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
A 2-person TED Talk.
Is that everything?
I think that's everything.
We've been going for an hour.
Yeah, about an hour. What do you guys think the life of meaning what is the life of meaning, guys?
The life of pi.
What do you guys think the meaning of life? I think I've said that like 2 times now.
What, the life of meaning?
Yeah.
Have you?
Why do I put life first? I don't know. What do you guys think the meaning of life is? Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, what do you think?
Because
Comment down
we
below.
don't know. If you're an ancient old Chinese guy, please comment down below.
Also, comment down below if you're the type of person to live your life in a routine because you feel like that is the purpose, or do you live it like very spontaneous and more so in that way?
Yeah.
What do you think you are?
I think there's a good balance in between me and that, but I think I'm more of a, I don't know, actually. I was going to say more routine based, but I feel like I do a lot of more creative things in my life than like most people.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm better than you guys, okay?
Oh, whoa. Did you just say you're more creative than everyone?
Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe I'm right smack in the middle. I'm more I want to be more spontaneous, but maybe I'm just routine based. What do you think you are?
I do like a balance of both, but I do think that I'm more like routine.
Oh, really?
Because I really strongly feel that like the choices that I make are going to take me the way that I want to go. So like, let's say I wake up in the morning and I'm like, I could have that frozen pizza, but then I'm like, well, I want to like take care of my body and like really take my life in that direction. So then I'm like, maybe I should make like a healthy breakfast instead.
I mean, where does that take you, huh? You think that's better than someone who had frozen pizza?
I don't know. Like maybe if I ate frozen pizza, I would be fucking happier.
Ooh.
But maybe if I had frozen pizza, then later I'd be like, I wish I would have like made a healthy breakfast. I don't know. Anyways, it's tough. We're just here to fucking live life, okay? Live your own life. Everyone has their own.
Be happy. Try to be happy.
Try to be happy. But even then, like, happiness isn't really like the meaning of life, I don't think.
Jesus, what can be the fucking meaning of life?
I don't know. Does anyone have an answer? We're confused over
Let us
here.
know, please. But yeah, I know we kind of rambled a lot, but I hope you guys enjoyed that one. I feel like this one was really like kind of personal or something.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We didn't talk about like what we want in our lives in like the future.
They don't need to know.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed that episode. Let us know what you think the meaning of life is if you guys want to. Mm-hmm. You know, we're just two people trying to live life, bruh. Trying to be happy.
We're so fucking small in the grand scheme of things.
I'm not that short, okay?
But yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's all. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today and listening to this week's episode. Oh, it says Melissa now, finally.
Yes, it does.
It used to say...
Audio 2.
Audio 2, yeah. I used to be Audio 2.
You have a
now
name
it has
now.
my name.
Oh,
my God, I have a purpose.
Oh, bro.
That is the meaning of life.
To have your name there. Oh, mine doesn't have my name there.
It just says me.
Damn it.
You're so full of yourself. Just me and then everyone else.
You know, if you're listening to an audio version, appreciate that. And if you're listening or if you're watching on video version, hi guys.
Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for listening. We will see you guys next week.
Peace, guys.
Bye.